Today is day 9 of me working on this buffet, and I am top coating today. I am using Minwax's Polycrylic. It's a water-based top coat. I am using it in the clear ultra flat finish. I want it to be very matte. What's wonderful about this product, putting it on, is it's like the same finish as the paint. Unless you get like a gloss or satin or something, then you will see the difference like when you apply it. But I love a matte finish, especially with the paint. So, I want to show you, I'm using a white roller. I used to use the rollers, the Whiz rollers that are like this that I use for my paint. But if you look closely, I would get like little black, like pieces of lint in my top coat, and I'm always like, where is this coming from? And duh, it's coming from the roller. So what I do now is I use the Whiz, I believe it's still the Whiz brand, and it's the white rollers. And this, therefore, when I put on the polycrylic, you will not see any little pieces of lint. I've learned my lesson over the years. I'm always trying to pick it out, wondering where the heck is all these little black and gray little pieces of lint coming from. So learned my lesson. I use the white roller. So I'm going to start applying on in the edges. I will use a brush, again, white bristles. I will get into the edging, all the creases of the buffet, and then all the flat, big areas, I will take my roller and I will roll it back. I did mix my polycrylic a while before, just scraping up any thickness that just settled to the bottom of the can. And I'm just re-stirring it just for a couple seconds. Stir easy so you don't get any bubbles in there. And I'm going to strain it. I always strain my top coat just because you just don't want any buildup, or just in case any like pieces of the dry polycrylic falls in from taking the lid off. I always try and keep my lids, the inside here, super clean so that doesn't happen. Doesn't always happen, but I try my best to keep it nice and clean. So I'm just straining it. Use a little bathroom cup. I always put it on top of a cardboard, like an old cereal box or something. I just rip them up in fourths, and I tend to reuse everything I can. Okay. And now I'm going to just start to cut in my buffet on the side using my brush, and then using my roller for the big surface areas. Since I did use the Bins primer, you shouldn't have any bleed through just because you're applying a top coat that's water-based, because I did put the Bins primer on and you don't see any bleed through from the paint. So just put it on just an easy layer. It doesn't have to be so crazy, just nice and gentle. It goes a long way. I just cut in, so now I'm going to take my roller. Get a pretty good amount of product on there. And I usually always do it to where where the light is, the sunlight, so I can see exactly where my roller marks are, because it will blend in nice. I can see on the screen right here, you can see it's a little shiny. So that's why I do it in the daylight too, to make sure I see where my roller marks are going. Beautiful. And this will dry nice and clear, will not yellow. If it was polyurethane, it would yellow, because that would be an oil base, but this is a water base, so it will dry nice and clear and in the finish that I want, which is a matte. Some more product on there. Okay, and that is all top coated. All my top coat is applied. Do not, as much as you might want to like hurry up the drying process, do not turn on any fans or anything, because when you turn on the fans, if there's any dust or things on the ground, it will get stirred up and then stick to your top coat. Even before I top coated, I actually vacuumed and mopped the floor just to make sure there was no lint or dirt or anything flying around that's just laying on the floor or in the air or anything. So definitely just don't turn on a fan. Just let the drying process happen. Now, I am going to be distressing this buffet. I top coat first because lessons learned. I've made this plenty of times, mistakes, but let me just put this down. I have distressed, I put my top coat on, and then I have tons of bleed through from the natural tannins that's in the wood because I exposed the natural wood again. Because when I distress, I go through the paint, the primer to get to the wood. So if I'm exposing the wood again, I put a water-based top coat on it, it will have bleed through, and then it would look like all yellowy tinge dripping down, and it looks horrible. So I've learned my lesson plenty of times. So what I do now is I top coat the entire piece. When it's all dried, I go in with my sandpaper. I'll show you that in my next step. I'm going to distress the areas that I want distressed, and then when it's all done distressing, I take a white rag with a little bit of wax on it, and I go over the natural wood, the exposed wood that I did with sandpaper, and then it'll all be sealed. So that's the process. I know this is a lot longer of a process, but for me, this is just what I like to do. I'm sure there's other ways of doing it, but again, I'm just showing you what I do from start to finish on the piece that I'm working on.